Lutron recently released a new look to their Caseta switches, and they sent me some samples to test in my smart home. In this video, I'll show you how to install and operate a Caseta dimmer with the Pico remote and the Lutron app. I'll also add the device in my HomeSeer hub and even control it from a Stream Deck. Lutron Diva dimmer switch. It's a smart dimmer. Not the dumb ones. I made the mistake of looking and I found the dumb ones and they were a lot cheaper than the smart ones. And they call them Diva, which makes it even more confusing. So you gotta make sure you look for Caseta Diva Smart Dimmers if you want to get this. Now this is a major improvement from the previous version. Now I've never had the old version, but based on feedback, the old version looked like this. Buttons at the top for turning it on, bottom was off, and then it had up and down for dimming control. The problem that people had with these is finding them in a dark room and knowing where to press was a difficult thing. So they came out with this one, which is just simply up is on, down is off, and a little slider here for the dim level. And this is supposedly a much better design. In fact, unfortunately, it looks like pretty much every other smart dimmer that I've ever seen. These were unique, but this tends to look the same, except that it says Lutron. And of course, the good thing about Lutron, and the reason why they command the price, is because you can feel it's heavy. It's got good quality materials inside here. I never hear anybody complain about Lutron other than the price. But Lutron is an American company here in Coopersburg, Pennsylvania. And these devices are assembled in Mexico. Now they also sent me a couple of Pico remotes, which you can connect wirelessly. You pair them up to various different Caseta products, whether it be switches, dimmers, plug-in modules, fan controls, blinds, and shades. All of those things you can control from a Pico remote. And so you don't need a hub if you don't want one. But if you do want a hub, if you want to use app control or any kind of home automation, you do need a hub. And so I have this hub here. This is the SmartBridge Pro. This is the Pro version. And they sent me the Pro version at my request because if you want to use it with any of the third-party home automation hubs, like I use HomeSeer and others use Home Assistant, there's tons of them out there. If you want to use this with any of those, you have to get the Pro version. And this also works with HomeKit, from what I understand. Let's talk about the wiring of the switch. So the green one is going to be the ground. That's connected to the metal here. So that's the one that's going to get connected to bare copper or the ground. The black and the red wires at the top are the ones that will connect to the same wires that are connected to your switch at this point, okay? Assuming you have a single toggle switch on and off, these wires just get connected to the two wires that are on your switch. The blue wire here is only needed if you're going to use it in a three-way situation. I'm not today, so I'm going to actually cut this and cap it so that I'm not using it. The good thing about it is you see there's no white wire here, so this does not require a neutral wire. Now that's not a problem for me. I have neutral wires because my house is relatively new. But if you have an older house and you just have simply two wires coming to your switch and nothing else in the box, these are the wires you would use, and you don't need a neutral for this. So that's a wonderful thing. Just for comparison, here are some budget smart dimmers that I saw at Costco, and you can see it clearly states right on top, requires a neutral wire. So that's a really nice feature of the Lutron Caseta Diva, because most smart switches do require a neutral. The included directions with the Caseta switch is like the best I've ever seen, honestly. It shows you how to wire it in great detail, how to wire it to a normal switch, and it gives you a link to if you wanted to do a three-way situation, you'd have to go and look someplace else. It also shows you how to set it up with the hub as well as with the Pico remote. Now I'm setting up this Caseta dimmer to replace the dimmer that's already here in my office. I want to be able to turn it on and off automatically. Coincidentally, it's replacing a previous Lutron dimmer, but I hate this one because it's really hard to find the on-off switch at the bottom. Now here you can see the old one. I pulled the dimmer out. It had the exact same wires, did not require a neutral, and you could see the wire for the three-way was capped. And then I replaced it exactly the same way. I just used Wago connectors instead of wire nuts because I prefer them. All right, I have it installed and I have it working not only from the switch, but I also paired it with the Pico remote, and now this works too. Click the top and it goes on full brightness, or whatever this little lever is pressed to. I have it up to full brightness, and click the bottom for it to go off. So that's great. You can go into a dark room and you can find it really easily. Now when it's on, you can also dim it. And whatever level you have this slider at is the level it will come on to. So that's the default on level. So that's really great. And you can also see that it comes on and off slowly. It doesn't abruptly come on like a regular switch would. And I also paired it to the Pico remote. So top button turns it on, bottom turns it off, and of course I can change the dim level here as well. And the middle button is to save a favorite. If you wanted to save a favorite dim level, you can do that as well. Now my only complaint is that in a very quiet room, my bulbs make a little bit of a hum, especially when they're in the dim position. But going on and off, you can hear the hum. All right, to set up the hub, I plugged in the power adapter and an Ethernet cable that goes to my router, and then I just plugged it into power. I'm not going to go into great detail on the app, but I set up my account, made sure that connectivity was there. I added the switch, customized the name, and then, of course, made sure that it works. When you edit the device in the app, there are two advanced settings there. The trim is actually the maximum brightness and the minimum dimness, I should say. The other thing is that light on the dimmer on the side. You can decide when it should be turned on and when it should be turned off. So that's really good if you want it off completely dark in a bedroom at night. Next, I wanted to control this new dimmer from my HomeSeer home automation system. So I searched for the Lutron Caseta plugin, installed the free trial, and enabled it. At this point, I went into the advanced settings in the Lutron app and I found integration. Remember, this feature only works on the SmartBridge Pro. First, I enabled Telnet support, which would allow HomeSeer to talk to the bridge. Then I went into the network settings to locate the IP address of the bridge. And finally, I looked at the integration report to determine my dimmer has a device ID of 2. I entered all that information in the HomeSeer plugin, and it created a new device for me called Office Ceiling, which you can see here in my device list. Now I can include this device in any of my HomeSeer automations with the rest of my Zigbee, Z-Wave, and Insteon devices. As an added bonus, I programmed a button on my Stream Deck to turn them on and off just like I did with my studio lights. If you are a DIY video creator struggling to find an audience, join HandyDadTV and get instant access to an established audience that will provide more views and income than you're getting on your own. Just go to HandyDad.tv/join for more information.